So a few things. Um, Primary, I just watched a movie from, actually not just starring, but from The Rock. He's a co-producer. Snitch. I got it from the library. I've been avoiding the movie for a while. I generally do like The Rock, Walking Tall, all that good stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see the Tooth Fairy one. Um, but I like in what's that cool? Stay Cool or Get Cool? Cold Cool with John Travolta. Get Shorty. Be Cool, something like that. Man, I thought his acting was phenomenal in that. It, so I generally like his acting. I like the comedic. He's kind of like a Jackie Chan, you know, sort of. But anyways, so I've been avoiding Snitch because I had my own preconceived thinking that it was probably some kind of pro police, um, fake justice, uh, just shit, shitty concept movie. And I didn't realize The Rock had such a significant role in it. Dwayne Johnson. Um, but I was very pleasantly surprised. I was surprised in the beginning when they talked and they have a guy doing an interview. Um, and I had up my own mindset that, again, anticipating that something like Valor, or like that a pro-military movie, something along that lines. I was actually thinking that like the DEA or primarily the DEA had some kind of role in it. Oh, like Zero Dark 30, the way the CIA had a role in Zero Dark 30, totally distorting everything, all that good stuff. Um, and then I saw an ad in the beginning of the DVD for a fair sentencing for youth prisoners. So, and then that blew my mind. Uh, Very relevant to me, having been a child prisoner in this nation, and for no small feat. Well, a variety of times. 5 times total, varying, but cumulatively, or 5 years. And half of that, 50% juvenile. Actually, even straight down the line, 50% of that juvenile. But not my first time in as a juvenile incarceree, incarcerated re. Um, I was in for 21 months, and then I did do a 6 month stint, to be cliche, um, prior to becoming 18, or right at the merge of 18, which was a juvenile facility, and then there was two different, I think it's 16 and 14, 16, 14, and 2, um, under adult classification, just above the age of 18. Um, but I saw some interesting things there. People, youth. I was in jail with 12-year-old that actually killed two people. I was actually in jail with quite a few 15 and under that had done murder or attempted murder. Um, but anyways, so that made me kind of jolted me as to the motivation behind the movie, and made challenged my preconceived my preconceived bias, which is nothing wrong with having. It's how precious is your preconceived bias. I think is the most significant factor. So, anyways, getting into the movie, whoa, I'm blown away. They're like they still got some powerful points in this movie. I don't know that movies like this actually have any value in legitimately or reasonably or effectively providing like an outreach of information to the general public. Well, if it does, it might provide an informative sense of awareness, like I know what is going on. But it is very critical, difficult, and dynamic to recognize. I have to go back to the mass psychology of fascism. If one does not have the capacity to identify the foundational psychology in in any democratic republic, monarch, nation, state of today's, including the United Nations, because of the mere structure is in itself evidence of a fascism, a fascist origin. Whether it's difficult to accept because you need an individual to identify themselves as a fascist to be able to qualify them as a fascist, you can wait all damn day long for that. I've done my own self um, diagnosis, I guess is the correct phrase, and I look at what I'm doing as taking my life back out of this fascist realm, whether that's pleasant or not. So, but like, oh man, when they, if, I mean, they does a visualization, but at the same time, it doesn't get into really the numbers. It talks about the percent, but it doesn't really get into the numbers of how many lives are affected by this um, chain linking of manufactured crime. And this goes perfectly in tone with the crap that I talk about the FBI, who is a terrorist organization who targets only American citizens. It's very, as much as white people want to believe the Black Panthers deserve to be assassinated for the mere fact that they were alive and that they had an opinion that contrasted with those of the agents of the FBI and the white police officers who shot them to death, um, they're still American citizens. And that was even in the approval of the American public, that only goes further to reinforce the idea that they were political assassinations. Were they limited to the sphere of law enforcement? If you ask a general American citizen, most of the people that I probably work with, including a large portion of black people, um, probably high portion of Hispanic people, um, you would get an approval rating, a high approval rating, or a high approval doesn't just mean, yeah, I'm all for it. Another form of approval, as defined by Martin Luther King or alluded to by Martin Luther King's April 4th, 1967, his pre-anniversary assassination speech, Time to Break the Silence, Beyond Vietnam, where he mentions, and it goes back to, there's a somebody else, I watched the movie, uh, one of my roommates, I don't know which one, left it at my door for me because they know I'm into this stuff, The Rise of Hitler. It's some kind of TV special that was on, and the beginning of the quote says, all it takes for evil to conquer is for good men to do nothing. Um, well, that is a form, to keep it real, pledging allegiance is no different than Heil Hitler. The legacy is the same. The MO is the same. Targets the same. Means of operation, the same. I said that the primary tools sought or technology, the intention of the technological intention, the same. The reliance on military, the same. It's the supremacy. It's duh. Every all of that is evidence of it. So to pledge allegiance to the flag is the same thing, and to take to not have a broken heart shattered. I don't care. I'm sorry. Everybody's got their own opinion. I don't give a rat's ass what an Indian, in this case, I try to be supportive, but what a Native American says, that does any type ever does the pledge of, well, I don't want to say ever because can do the Pledge of Allegiance actively. That is such a bad, heart-wrenchingly gut. That should make people cry to see that. The significance of the American flag to the Native American population and any individual that comes from the origin of Native American societies that can put their hand over the heart and recite the Pledge of Allegiance is